Hello, American Patriots. I want to make something very, very clear. Many people have asked me over the past couple of years, when is the time that we, the American Patriots, are going to step up and stop the anarchy, stop Antifa, stop those that are hell-bent on destroying our country and everything that our forefathers stood for and built. For those of you that follow my videos, follow my weekly shows, you know, you've seen it in the chats, what people ask. People look up to people like me and others that have experience in real life situations, law enforcement, in the military, traveling the globe. And I've been very, very consistent with my message to my viewers. And that is, we pray for peace. We only take action if our life is threatened or a family member's life is threatened. And that we would not take to the streets like the anarchists do unless our brothers and sisters in law enforcement were being overrun. I've always said, when I feel it is time to support our brothers and sisters in law enforcement and have their six, is when riots are happening all across America. Buildings are being burned down, looting, rioting, police officers being shot, killed, injured. I've always said, you'll know when it's time because you will see it on your television sets. It'll be broadcast everywhere. CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, ABC, CBS, NBC, all your local stations. I told you this day was coming. I've done many videos about this day. The writing has been on the wall for many of us that are former law enforcement and military. We have seen the increase of anti-American, outright, disgusting behavior, hatefulness towards everything we stand for as Americans. I'm here to tell you that right now, the time has come. The time has come for every American patriot out there. 3%ers, those that are part of wanting to support our Constitution, every single letter. And let me just say this, more so those that are trained and qualified in tactics of physical altercations and understand your rights as an American citizen. All across America right now, what I've been warning about is taking place. Now, let me step back for a moment and read you a few statistics. There are more than 800,000 sworn law enforcement officers now serving in the United States, which is the highest ever. About 12% of them are female. crime fighting has taken its toll. Since the first recorded police death in 1786, there have been more than 22,000 law enforcement officers killed in the line of duty. 22,000. Currently, there are 22,217 names engraved on the walls of the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial. A total of 1,627 law enforcement officers die in the line of duty during the past 10 years, an average of one death every 54 hours, or averaging 163 police officers are killed in the line of duty. There were 135 police officers killed in the line of duty last year. And this year, 2020, that number is scheduled to double, if not triple, because of those that hate what America stands for. According to the FBI's Uniform Crime Report of 2018, there have been 58,866 physical assaults against officers since 2018, resulting in 18,005 police officers injured. For those of you that have paid attention and watched the news, you saw that all across America, where these riots and looting and burning has taken place, that there are mixed races in the crowd. You saw there are white people, black people, Asian people. Every group is represented. Sadly, you also saw broadcast right into your living room or wherever you're watching TV, CNN or MSNBC or Fox News or any of the others, that those that were doing physical violence, bursting into buildings and setting them on fire, all appear to be black, why? Why? Why are you burning down your own neighborhoods? Former Obama National Security Advisor Susan Rice, remember that piece of work? She suggested today that Russia is behind what we're seeing happen right now. You know, she's still on her Russia collusion thing with President Trump. And she believes, like many of the Obama administration, former administration, that Trump was a Russian agent. Democrat mayors in these cities that are under siege right now are coming out and saying that it's actually white supremacists that are involved with this destruction. Although you saw it on your own TV, or if you're watching it on YouTube or wherever, that is an outright lie. Last night, they tried to get into the White House and burn it down. Over 60 Secret Service officers were physically attacked and injured as the mob tried to get through to the White House. In the past 72 hours, over 200 plus police officers have been seriously injured, and 3 police officers have been killed. In the past 72 hours, they have burned down post offices. They've burned down banks. They've burned down stores. They've looted all of the above. They've managed to burn down 3 police precincts. They've set hundreds of police cars on fire. And they're throwing objects at law enforcement officers designed to do physical damage or kill them. This is no longer about Mr. George Floyd and the officer who put a knee to his neck and killed him. It's not about that anymore. That officer was fired along with all those that were part of what took place, and that officer has been arrested and charged. This is about the same philosophy that Antifa has. And sadly, many YouTubers, and you know who I'm talking about, YouTubers that have well over 100,000 subscribers, in some cases 300,000, 400,000 subscribers, that are anti-law enforcement, anti-military, anti-veteran, anti-everything American values. They only want the Constitution to be what they say it should be. And they believe in the Colin Kaepernicks and the take a knee, and that all across law enforcement there are thousands and thousands of law enforcement officers that have the badge and the gun and believe that that makes them a king to do whatever they want, and that they want to kill, injure the black man. All of which is an outright lie, and it's disgusting. I've always said anyone in law enforcement that does something illegal should be held accountable. And I still believe that to this very day. And they are being held accountable. Just look at the arrests that have been made against law enforcement officers in the past 5 or 6 years. The protect the blue line, protect your brother or sister in law enforcement, the good old buddy system is changing for the better. But you wouldn't know that by listening to these Democrats, listening to these far left liberals, listening to these people that support Antifa, listening to Democrat members of Congress. No. You would believe that all cops are bad. All cops are hell-bent on killing innocent black youth. And that is bullshit. Right now, it has reached a point across America where states are having to activate the National Guard to come in and support their law enforcement because they don't have enough. The mob is more than the cops. And the cops are having to stand down and let buildings burn. And in most cases, it's because the mayors of those towns are Democrats, and they told their police chiefs, you will not take action against these protesters. So they let it burn. Law enforcement is to protect and serve the community. And all across America right now, that's not happening. Law enforcement and these Democrat controlled areas are being ordered to stand down and allow these ruthless, uneducated on history and basic facts kids destroy this country. So I say it is time. It is time for patriots to rise up and go to where your local protests are happening. And when you see someone take an action to physically harm or kill a police officer, a firefighter, or an innocent human being that happens to be driving by, it is your responsibility to step up and take care of the problem. You have the right in America under the Constitution to protect yourself and others from death, from physical harm. And you need to be aware of that. I'm not saying go out into these mobs and start beating the shit out of people. But pay attention to what's happening within them. Have backup. Go in groups of 10 or more. And when you see one of them throwing a makeshift bomb, Molotov cocktail, or setting a police car on fire, or actually physically grabbing a cop and beating him up, interact. Grab that son of a bitch and march him right towards the police in riot gear. Or whatever it takes to defuse the situation. Try it as peacefully as possible. But I believe that these little fuckers don't understand that anymore. They don't understand what peaceful protest is about. The President of the United States, finally, today, it took 72 hours of America burning to call Antifa what they are, and what many of us, including me, have been calling for a long-ass time. Just go look at my videos in the past about Antifa. They are a domestic terrorist organization, plain and simple. Finally, they've been labeled as such. So, terrorists are burning down your city. It is time we support our men and women in law enforcement. And you can do that regardless of how you feel about what's going on in the political scheme of law enforcement. Because if you're like me and you support the Constitution, then you also support bad cops being held accountable. Bad cops not being cops anymore. That's only a very small percentage. Because 99.999% of every law enforcement officer in America are good, honest, decent human beings that signed up to protect and serve their community. Not do what that little fuckhead did by putting his knee into a man's neck and killing him. Or what you see on YouTube where cops are overstepping their boundaries against people's rights. No. That shit needs to be called out. They don't need to be cops anymore. But that's not even 1% of the police force. But the Democrats and the liberals are trying to paint it. All law enforcement is bad people. That shit needs to stop. This lawlessness happening in America needs to stop. Military veterans, veteran law enforcement officers, American patriots need to stand up now, tonight, with your brothers and sisters on the front line, willing to die for you. Are you willing to die for them? Especially if you took an oath to defend this country against all enemies, foreign and especially domestic. And right now, domestic terrorists are in all the major cities across this country, terrorizing it. And our men and women in law enforcement are so overwhelmed, there's hardly nothing they can do but let them get away with it. And that shit has to stop now. I will be out tonight in my city where protests are starting today. And I hope that every American patriot, every military veteran, every veteran law enforcement officer that's listening to my voice will join me wherever you're at in America. Get out there and be prepared for what we've been saying is going to happen for a long time. An all-outright civil war is taking place right now. Please say a prayer for our men and women serving in the United States military, our veterans, our men and women in law enforcement, their families, first responders, angel families, Blue and Gold Star families, our president, and our country. Today is the time for action to stand up and support our men and women in blue. Today is the day to report to YouTube. Hit the little report flag. All these fuckers on YouTube that are anti-law enforcement, anti-veteran, anti-military. They're nothing but tyrants pouring gasoline on an already lit fire. And their ass needs to be held responsible for what they're doing. Thank you. God bless you. And I really do hope that I'll be seeing you soon. But I've had enough of this shit. And a good leader leads by example. And tonight, I will be out there. Have a blessed evening, everyone.